This is why people think for teams that you don't follow or like or whatever, cheer for, that you are just major troll.
Why is that?
How can you lose on purpose?
Yeah.
Just so you can get better seating.
Yes.
Just so you can avoid the Boston Celtics.
Correct.
Just so you can go up against the Cleveland Cavaliers should you get past the Detroit Pistons and the Milwaukee Bucks in the second round, a team that you don't necessarily fear.
Yes.
You are so right.
Of course I'm right.
You're so right.
Of course I'm right.
I hate losing. I hate intentionally trying to lose, Evan. I think it's the most asinine thing you can ask any athlete to do in any sport, and no coach wants to do it either. But, man, the Boston Celtics are your daddy right now as the Knicks. You know that they are they're just superior to you. Even when they don't play their best, they find ways to beat you.
Yeah.
Avoid them as long as possible.
That's all I'm saying, man. And it's crazy because I would never bring this up with a week to go in the season or even 2 weeks to go in the season. We're at the nitty-gritty time. Here's the scenario for those that aren't aware. The Knicks have 2 games left. They play the Cavaliers tonight. They play the Nets on Sunday. If they lose both of those games and the Pacers win both of their games, they play the Magic tonight and then Cleveland on Sunday. The Knicks drop to 4. And if they drop to 4, forget about the first-round opponent. It's either Milwaukee or Detroit. We don't need to get in the weeds on that. The Knicks will be the favorite either way. But it lines them up to play a team in Cleveland who, while the Cavs are better, and the Cavs should be respected, and I do respect them, and I respect what Kenny Atkinson has done and the way that team has grown, the Cavaliers are not the Celtics. You know, we talked a few days ago about Boston and the matchup problems they posed the Knicks. And what I said about the Celtics 2 days ago, I'll say again today. They're the best team on the planet. This is not disrespecting the New York Knicks or even the Cleveland Cavaliers. They are the elite. They are like a perfect basketball team concocted in an NBA laboratory. So if you have a chance to avoid that matchup until the last possible moment, you take it.
Yeah. I mean, and the challenge is, you know, that the Knicks are not going to do this. The Knicks are not going to just lay down because winning to a coach like Tom Thibodeau is everything. And it sets a precedent. It informs your players how they're going to or how they're supposed to play and attack every single moment of every single game. And so it's unlikely that this is going to happen.
I will disagree with you, and I'll give you some evidence that Tom Thibodeau agrees with me. Now, last night, we were all hanging out at the Islander-Ranger game, and unfortunately, I had to leave early. Did I leave?
Wait, what?
I had to leave early. Now, did I leave early because
Evan Roberts left a game early.
After the second period. That's correct.
All right. Guys, I don't ever want to hear it from Evan again when I bounce in the 6th inning.
Well, hold on a second. There's a difference.
I don't ever want to hear it again when I leave in the middle of the 3rd quarter. I don't want to hear it ever.
Tiki, there is a difference. Last night, the Islanders were getting absolutely pound-sanded by the New York Rangers.
Yes, I sent the text to the chain.
Yeah.
Did the Islanders even come out of the locker room?
No, they did not. They ended up losing 9-2. It was 5-1 when I left. But I left for 2 reasons. Not just because they were down 5-1. I left because my wife may have wanted me home. But I also left because I wanted to go in the laboratory. I needed to see, unlike Tommy, who didn't give a rat's ass about it, I needed to watch the last few minutes and really go through the Knick Piston game last night. Because I wanted to study if Tom Thibodeau is following kind of my lead on this. And he did. Because not only did OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, and Mitchell Robinson not play, but Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson played limited minutes last night. And after the game, when Tom Thibodeau was asked, hey, was there a minutes restriction placed upon Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, he said, no, there wasn't. Well, hold on a second. Cat played 29 minutes, Jalen played 29 minutes, and P.J. Tucker played 26 minutes. There was a moment in this game in which Tom Thibodeau had a 5 on the floor of DeLon Wright, Landry Shamet, Cam Payne, P.J. Tucker, and Precious Achiuwa. So Tom Thibodeau, without announcing it to the world, did exactly what I'm suggesting.
But that was yesterday.
Yes, and what do you think's going to happen today?
That was the Pistons being put into an advantageous position to be the Knicks' first-round opponent.
Oh, I don't think it had anything to do with that.
Really?
I think it had maybe, you know what I'll give you on this?
Why else would you not try to win that game.
I think that there's a few reasons why Tom did what he did last night and a few reasons why I think he will continue that on Friday and Sunday. Number one, if you're going to play the Detroit Pistons, don't show them everything. You don't need to. You may be playing them in a week. Don't show them everything. That's number one.
Right, that's fair.
Number two, you've said it, get these guys rested. But number three, I think Tom Thibodeau is realizing a reality that if every Knicks fan just is honest with themselves about, this is not a knock on you. I guess it kind of is. You are better off as the 4th seed. Repeat after me. Tommy, we are better off as the 4 seed.
We are better off as the 4 seed.
He knows it, and he said it.
Do you believe that, Tom?
I do. No, the Celtics are clearly the best team.
Right. Avoid them as long as possible.
No doubt.
And look, the reason why you want to avoid them is because a lot of crazy crap can happen before you get to them. And also, you give yourselves a better chance to become more battle-tested. Now, are they going to be dogs against the Cleveland Cavaliers? Absolutely. This is not about disrespecting Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley and Jared Allen and Ty Jerome and everybody on that roster.
Wahoo-wah.
That's right. It's not about that. It's about the reality that they're not as good as Boston. And so with the Knicks being in this spot where losing benefits them, I think you got to go all the way with it. And I think Tom Thibodeau agrees with me. I think he's going to employ this strategy tonight against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, you need things to go your way.
I was going to say, they don't fully control it.
They don't. They need Indiana to win.
Right.
And guess what? Do you know what the Pacers are doing tonight in their game against the Orlando Magic?
Playing their G League team?
I think they may be sitting guys, yes.
I mean, so look.
This is a takeoff. It's a takeoff, I tell you.
This is rough. It's a rough last couple of games for the NBA, if you think of it in that regard.
Yes, it is.
Two teams, meaning the Knicks and the Pacers, who are going to host first-round matchups.
That's right.
Are trying to lose at the end of the season.
Yes!
Think how insane that sounds.
It's insanity. It's why, and I suggested this last year if you want to go full circle on this, when the Knicks were the 2 seed and they ended up playing Philadelphia, who I thought was a tough 2-7 matchup. They ended up winning it, but that was not your typical 2-7 matchup. What I suggested on the radio a year ago is that when you're a top seed or a 2 seed or a 3 seed, you should be able to pick your opponent. It should be a reality show on TV when the season ends. You get to select who you want to play. As long as you don't do that, you get these gymnastics. And I don't blame anybody for doing these gymnastics. Like, it makes sense. The Boston Celtics are the best team on the planet. If you have a chance to avoid them in the second round of the playoffs, you are making a mistake by not taking advantage of it.
Right.
Now, nothing can guarantee this because I do want to make one other thing clear. Like a guy like P.J. Tucker and DeLon Wright, they're trying. When they're on the floor, they're going to try to win. So it's not as if the team is trying to lose, just like the Nets players weren't trying to lose. You put yourself in a position to lose. If you're Tom Thibodeau, you don't play certain guys in certain moments. If you're Tom Thibodeau, you don't start certain guys in certain moments. And you at least give yourself a chance tonight against Cleveland and a game that means nothing. Sunday in Brooklyn, a game that means nothing. You give yourself that chance to lose. Maybe Indiana wins, who knows, because they could blow the whole thing up by losing. To put yourself as the 4 seed where you have a better chance to get to the Eastern Conference Finals because it's just a simple fact. You have a better chance to get to the Eastern Conference Finals if your route is Detroit or Milwaukee and then Cleveland versus Detroit or Milwaukee and then Boston. No one can argue that because you know that's the easier route.
Right. So you're also looking, I forgot about the Brooklyn Nets game. You're also looking for placement totality for the Brooklyn Nets who own the Knicks picks as well.
Okay,
you said that yesterday.
What are you suggesting?
I'm just saying, I now see the meaning of your lose New York Knicks because they are currently a game ahead of the Lakers.
I must say,
right? If they lose out and the Lakers win 2 more, win out,
yes,
then all of a sudden the Knicks fall back a spot.
I do want to apologize.
They could. No, they probably can't. Denver can only tie them right now.
I do want to apologize to the audience. I had never bring up the Brooklyn Nets. I never bring them up, and yet Tommy Lugauer and Tiki Barber always love to bring them up.
The hapless Nets.
It's just convenient.
Well, full transparency, you are right that the Knicks dropping a spot or two benefits the Nets, of course. That is not the meaning of this discussion right now, though. Like, yes.
Somewhere in there, Evan, it is.
Well, for me,
it might be small, might be an iota of truth, but somewhere in your brain, it is.
Well, I'll take you behind the curtain. Mm-hmm. Last night, I had another emergency meeting of the coalition of Knick haters, and I had an argument with a friend of mine because the friend of mine who hates the New York Knicks was arguing that this scenario we're describing of the Knicks dropping to 4 scares him. He does not like that because he fears that the Knicks will beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, okay? I argued back at him and said, while you're right, I put my team first. I would prefer the better draft pick. So we were actually arguing best case scenarios, worst case scenarios for Knicks versus how it impacts the Nets. So I can take a step back and tell you the reality. What do I prefer as a Net fan? A better draft pick, of course.
Right.
What would I prefer as a Knicks hater and a Nets fan? I want you to have to play Boston. Mm-hmm. Like, he's right. So, yes, I think the Knicks route, I can't be any more transparent. It scares me if you're the 4 seed. Because while it may benefit me in my own selfish world because I move up 1 slot with my 4th first-round pick, whatever, the Knicks, yes, have a better chance of going on a deep run if they're the 4 seed than the 3 seed. Absolutely.
Right.
I can't argue that.
You get Cleveland in the second round. Therefore, you could likely stave off Boston to the championship. And then at least the Eastern Conference championship. And then anything could happen.
Well, you know what else? And here's the reason why I think that. Because one counter one can have on me is, hey, Ev, you got to beat the Celtics anyway. What's the difference? Well, here's my answer to that. I'd rather play a team that's better than me. And I think we all agree the Celtics are better than the Knicks. That's not, anything crazy. I'd rather face a team that's better than me later because more crazy things can happen.
Well, more
such as injuries.
Right, injuries, more crazy things can happen.
Yes.
But there's also this narrative that sits around the Knicks that they cannot get out of the second round. And if they play the Boston Celtics this year in the second round and lose, it's going to be, not that it's anywhere close to same old Jets or same old Nets or anything like that, but it's just the Knicks are stuck.
It's a great point.
The Knicks are just blocked.
You're right.
There's nothing they can do, no matter how good of a season they had, whether it was 2 years ago when attrition became their enemy or this year where they're healthy, but you just run up against the behemoth in the East, really the behemoth in all of basketball. At Boston, you're just stuck.
No, you're 1,000% right. If the Knicks lose to Boston either way, whether it's in the conference finals or the semifinals, it will feel better as a Knicks fan if it happens in the Eastern Conference Finals because then you get to say we took a step, we were in the Eastern Conference Finals, we were a step away as compared to losing in the second round. I think you're absolutely right, which is why all roads lead to the same destination. You are better off losing these last 2 games, keeping your fingers crossed that Indiana wins these next 2 games, and being the 4 seed.
Another way to look at it, though, is playing Boston earlier. You're fresher. You haven't gone through the ringer. Attrition hasn't had a chance to wear you down like it did last year. And maybe Cleveland gets knocked off. You get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and you don't even have to face Cleveland. You get Boston when you're a little fresher, second round. You could pick them off, and then maybe Cleveland loses, and now all of a sudden, you have home court.
But which one of those scenarios would you prefer? Boston in the second round or Boston in the championship round?
Well, I would probably prefer Boston in no round, but if I had to face them, I don't know. I would just, at this point, I don't want to look at the Celtics anymore, so I guess I would say let's get them earlier when I know I'm a little fresher.
I could see
and I could take my chances where Cleveland gets knocked off. Based on Evan's argument, they're not what we think they are.
There is some honor in losing to the Boston Celtics, regardless of when it happens.
Of course, they're a great team.
They're a great team this year.
Yeah.
And they're the defending champions.
Sure.
And so they have a great coach. We all know it. They have 2.5 great players. And so it's one of those situations where it's like, God, it sucks that we have to face them. Mm-hmm. But at some point, it's an old, stupid cliche that you heard since you were 5 years old. In order to be the best, you got to beat the best. Well, unfortunately for the Knicks, that's got to happen. They have to find a way to beat the best. Otherwise, they don't have a shot for the next couple of years.
The only scenario where I'd rather face a great team early is in baseball because the rounds are different. It's best of 5, and I believe it's easier, if you will, to pull off an upset in a best of 5 than a best of 7. So I can't tell you I'm 100% consistent on it because I think in baseball it is different. But when it comes to the NBA, if there is a team that's better than me, I want to delay it as long as possible. And the New York Knicks, and Tom Thibodeau knows this. That's why Tom Thibodeau coached the way he coached last night. It's why tonight everybody's on the injury report. Now, we'll find out when we get closer to tip who's going to play and who's not going to play, but everyone's on the injury report because Tom Thibodeau in his laboratory is thinking the same thing I'm thinking and the same thing most Knicks fans are thinking, which is if we can avoid Boston, let's do it.
Is he thinking about his job security? To Tiki's point?
No.
If we get bounced early again, I'm on the hot seat?
No.
Just throwing it out there.
No, I don't think so. I think he's in the lab. He's thinking about how do I get to the NBA Finals. And I also think, and we talked about this late yesterday, Milwaukee or Detroit, because that's still a kind of a possibility on which team they will face.
Right.
We'll lay out the scenarios later to explain it. I don't think it matters as much because I think the Knicks are favorites against either team. We can go through what's the better matchup, what's more dangerous. It's a fair discussion, but either way, the Knicks are favorites.
Right.
The Knicks can beat Cleveland. There are many Knicks fans right now who don't think they have a chance against the Boston Celtics, so avoid it. We'll get to your calls coming up at 888-808-1019, and I come to you, Tiki, with proof that this has happened before. It has happened in this town before, and believe it or not, it happened with my teams before, where teams at the end of a season purposely avoided one opponent to get another.